Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. My name is Amy with two E's, and I'm the CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and courses, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. Welcome back to the podcast. How are you doing? How are things? I feel like it's been a minute since we touched base here, and I'm going to do a little bit of chit chat, catch up stuff, and then we're going to get into today's topic, which is your weight is the least interesting thing about you. That's what we're talking about. So it is September. We are, it's technically still summer, but it's technically fall, depending on how you look at it. Fall has not officially started, but for me, I always think of fall as the kids are back in school. As soon as Labor Day is over and the kids are back in school, it's like we're moving into fall, even though it's still really warm. We've had some really good weather here, though, lately. Some chill in the air, and it's been a little bit nice to have that. So kids are in school. This is a big one for me this year because Javi is in preschool. So both children are at school. And right now there is no one in the house. It's just Chewy and I. And it's nice. I was really worried, having all the anxiety, all the feelings about him going to preschool. All summer long, he kept telling me he didn't want to go. He was scared. He did cry at drop-off, but we ripped the Band-Aid. They took him back, and he has become the biggest fan of school. He thinks it's so much fun. Now he's just running in the door. He absolutely loves it. And Kat has started second grade, which is just wild. So we're back in that swing of things. And let me tell you, we couldn't even get a week into the first week of school. We have sick kids. You guys, I just cannot. I cannot mentally do another season of everybody running through the illness like every 2 to 3 week cycle. If you have tips on how to stop it, just please send me those over on Instagram because I'm about to lose my mind. I really, really just cannot with that. So she already missed school one day this week. She went back today, so we'll see how it goes. But she seems to be feeling better, and I hope so because we are leaving for our annual Touched by Type 1 conference that Catalina and I do together. It's like a mom-daughter trip. It's down in the Orlando area, so we turn it into a mini Disney trip, and it has really become our special thing to look forward to, just the two of us, and it's, for like a long weekend, and it's just, I look forward to this. She is so excited. This is going to be the third year. This is the third year in a row that we will be attending. So I am super excited. I have just now finally been getting excited. Like I'm always excited, right? But I've had so many other things clouding the space in my brain that I just haven't been in my normal vacay planning phase where I months in advance I'm already doing things or starting to buy stuff or pack little things. I leave in 2 days and I haven't packed. And that is so not me. I was planning to do it over the weekend and things just, I had I had to go to the nail shop. I had to go run some errands and I wanted to do some things by myself. And then Sunday we chose to go out and do something outside, right? You know how I talked about that in the last episode where I talked about things to look forward to. It's like I'm either going to sit in the house and do my chores, sit in the house and pack my stuff, or I'm going to go outside and enjoy the first nice fall weathery day. And it was such a nice walk. And anyway, so I'm not hoping it's going to happen. It has to happen today. I have to be, 90% packed today. I want to have everything done so that way if there's any last minute, oh, I forgot this or I forgot that, then I have tomorrow to to do that. And the good thing about it, I'm so happy this time that my flight is late. So I really dislike really early morning flights. I'm not an early riser. I just don't sleep the night before because I'm so worried I'm not going to wake up. And I just don't like getting to the airport when it's dark outside, in the early morning. So Thursday is going to be more of a relaxed, day. She'll still be able to go to school, which is great. So, I'm really looking forward to it. I know we're going to have fun. Even if it's, I don't care about the weather. It's Florida. It's September. It rains and thunderstorms every single day. It usually comes in pockets and waves, and that's what I'm going to hope for. And even if it rains, we make the most of it. So I just cannot wait to do that. So I'll be sharing that with you all on my Instagram stories, and I'm going to be up in my reel game. I've been trying to post more reels over there. It's just a lot. It's just a lot to keep up with, I have the podcast, and for me, of all the platforms, the podcast is the easiest method for me to get content out there. I can just turn on my microphone, press record. I don't edit things. I don't edit episodes. So, I keep it simple. I don't overcomplicate it. I don't add fancy music at the beginning and ending. A lot of times I find that's irritating anyway. And it just is what it is. And trying to keep up with all the social media and all the different sites, it's just a lot. And doing that on top of managing, instructional design clients and contracts and being a mom of 2 and a dog, it's a lot to do. So I'm trying to up my game. I'm trying to be there more, but it is challenging. So I think stories are the easiest way for me to share. So if you're not following, go over to @irresistibleicing on Instagram. That is the easiest way to stay connected. That's where I share and post the most. That rhymes. Anyway, I'm so cheesy. So also, I know I shared my drama that I was having all summer with my car. Absolutely insane. I ended up getting my car back 2 months and 1 week to the day. Long story short, I'm going to save you all the details, but the reason it wasn't working is because the original mechanics did a shitty, whack job on the first fuel pump. The line was broken. They put in an aftermarket fuel pump, even though they were contracted to put in the Ford fuel pump. It was just crazy. There's a whole case going on with that because they still owe money back to us. It's out of control. But I am so happy. I have a car, and every time that car starts, I get a little bit giddy. I will never take it for granted. I swear. It was just wild. So we've got our car back, thank goodness. And things are moving and shaking. So I wanted to catch up because it's been a while since I've been on here, and I kind of took a little bit of a hiatus for a few weeks over the summer. I am really hoping to kick things into full gear next week as I return back from Disney and get on a more regular schedule and just keep pumping this content out here because I love podcasting, and I know you guys love these episodes too. So let's get into today's topic. Your weight is the least interesting thing about you. I want you to really let that soak in for a second. And you're probably going to feel resistance to that statement. You're probably going to think, what are you talking about? And I want you to think about how many times in your life that you felt like your weight was the only thing that mattered. That was the only thing people were looking at, the only thing people are judging you for. And that's not just a made up feeling. When we're overweight, we are judged. We are looked at differently. People make assumptions. People say really rude things. And when you've had that happen enough times, you start to build this way of thinking that that's what everyone looks at. Everyone is looking at me because of my weight. That's the only thing that matters. Nothing else I do matters. Even though not everybody thinks that way, right? So we've let a few bad apples completely change the way we think and feel about ourselves. And the truth of it is that your weight really isn't that interesting. It's actually the least interesting thing about you. So, think about all the times where you just didn't care what else happened as long as you lost the weight. We are in a society where looks and body size are just put in the spotlight all the time. We hear about it, we see it, it's plastered all over the magazines, it's plastered everywhere. And so between things that have been said to us, what we see in society, what we see in the media, we start to being rejected, right? And maybe you've had rejection because of your weight. Somebody made a comment or something like that. It starts to form the rules we create inside of ourselves about how we think, how we feel. And then as a result, what you think and feel ultimately impacts how you act, right? Your actions that you take or you don't take. And so your weight, you have to think about what else in your life matters. Like, what else in your life makes you you? What else in your life makes you unique? What are your different talents, accomplishments, passions, goals? What are those things? And separating the weight from those things. So, for example, we get an accolade or an award or a promotion or something like that, right? And there's something inside that says, I don't deserve this. Why would they give this to me? You have the inner fat girl monologue going. And so you don't think you're deserving of it because in your mind, as long as you're overweight, you're not interesting. You're not worthy. You're not enough. And a lot of people out here, that's not how they see things. They actually see the good stuff, right? They see the personality. They see the goals. They see the accomplishments. And we have to start doing that for ourselves, right? Regardless of our past, regardless of what has been said, what has not been said, we have to start doing that for ourselves because all of this obsession about weight, the scale, oh my God, I got to lose weight to go on this vacation. If I'm not this size, I'm going to, if we don't stop the weight obsession, we don't have space for those other things to take up in our brain. We don't have the energetic capacity to do all the other things we want to do. And that's why I tell you all the time, you have to stop waiting for the weight, right? You don't have to wait for the weight in order to build a business, in order to, go after what you're looking for, whatever it is. We don't have to wait for that. We need to separate ourselves from what the weight means, right? Because you mean so much more than a number on the scale. You mean so much more than your size. And no matter what size you are, you're still you. Underneath all the pounds, it's still you. That person is in there. We have to think about who would you be, right? If you didn't have this cross to bear, and that cross being your weight, your extra weight, who would you be without obsessing about your weight? And that's scary for a lot of people because a lot of people are using their extra weight and their food addiction, their emotional eating as a way to mask and cover what they really don't want to deal with. So, do you feel raw and vulnerable when you think about being in a thinner body? Do you feel raw and vulnerable when you think about who am I without having to lose weight all the time? Like thinking about yourself at your goal and maintaining and being there, what does that feel like when you think about it? And so a lot of times the weight is being used as a mask. It's being used as a cover to what you're really dealing with. What are the other things that you are not addressing that you need to, right? And if the weight wasn't there, who would you be? Who would you become? What kind of person would you be? Because we can't spend all our life worried about what we look like in a bathing suit, worried about what we look like in shorts, worried about what we look like going on vacation. Oh my God, here I go again, right? Like, it's exhausting. It is exhausting to live that way. And when you've lived this way for so long, it's hard to picture anything else. I know for a while, and I think I even fight this now sometimes where I think, am I just always going to be like this? Am I always going to be battling the scale, so to speak? Am I always going to have to watch what goes in my mouth? And the answer to that is yes. The answer to that is yes. I will always be someone who has to be very mindful. Oh my God, I'm going to start very mindful. I always have to be mindful. I always have to be aware. I can't afford to zombie eat. I can't afford to zombie walk through life situations, because if I do, I know where I'm going to end up. And that doesn't mean you're obsessive, right? I think what it means is that you're paying attention. Your eyes are open and you're paying attention and you're noticing your body cues and you're noticing when you're hungry, you're noticing when you're full, you're noticing when you're going down that path. We all know what that path looks like for ourselves, right? Where we're starting to eat a little bit, saying, oh, this won't count, this won't matter, right? So as you go through the journey, that's why it's so important to learn how to lose the emotional weight with the physical weight, because if you don't lose the emotional weight and you get to your goal, you're still going to be obsessed. You're still going to be in that obsessive, weight obsessed, desperate dieting type of mindset, because you haven't learned how to regulate your emotions. You haven't learned how to speak to yourself. You haven't learned how to think differently, how to talk differently, how to show up for yourself. You haven't learned how to do those things. And those things don't arrive when you get to Wonderland. You don't get to Wonderland and it's like, oh shit, there we go. There's my self-esteem. There's my confidence. There's my, oh my God, there's my perfect skin. There's my this, there's my that. No. If only, right? If only. And y'all know my halfway point, my big overarching goal with my weight loss journey that I'm on is to get to Wonderland. And I shared in several episodes, if you go back and you can listen, where I know getting to Wonderland doesn't change anything. It changes the number on the scale. But the reason I want to get there is I feel like it's now giving me a baseline. It's now putting me in a place where I'm like, okay, I can really see the finish line. I can really see where things are going. I don't want to weigh over 200 pounds. And let me tell you, I usually don't give it away on the core episodes, because I usually record like the 10 pounds 10 times where I give like my weigh-ins. You guys, August is just effing with me. August and the scale are mocking me, because I am right now a half a pound. A half pound away from Wonderland. It's just crazy. And I know that when that scale, and I'm hoping it's tomorrow, right? Or at least that morning before I get on my flight. When that scale flips to the 1, when I see the 1, when that scale flips to the 1 and I go down the hole to Wonderland, nothing changed. Nothing has changed, right? The only thing that changed is the number on the scale. And I am telling you, if you don't learn how to do this stuff on the way down, the weight is not even going to matter, because you're going to hate yourself still. You're going to pick yourself apart. You're going to look at the loose skin. And I am noticing loose skin. Like, I've never noticed it like this before. I don't know if it's just because of my age, if it's because I think I might be losing some muscle, like by taking some of the injections. I really need to start doing more like toning and weightlifting, but it's hard. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not, and act like it's not devastating to see things in your body sagging and shifting. And there's times where I've weighed what I weigh right now, and I know I physically looked better. I know I looked thinner. I know I looked more snatched, right? Like, I know I have. So body composition is really the key. It's not really about your weight. That's why your weight is really not interesting. It is truly, truly not interesting. Two different women can weigh 200 pounds, and one woman can look fit, and the other one can look like Oogie Boogie. Okay, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just giving you comparisons, right? Like, there is no, oh, you have to be this weight to be this, like, to look this way, right? It's really not about that. So we have to stop putting so much value and emphasis on the number on the scale, because it really truly is the least interesting thing about you. It just is. It's just a number, it's just a vital sign, it's just a statistic. It just is. It just is what it is. And it's good to have goals. It's good because it gives you a baseline. It gives you a place to be like, okay, this is where I need to go. This is where I'm headed to. But not getting obsessed about it. And I know the scale flipping to the 1, while I'm going to be really excited and proud and just like, it's going to be like a long lost reunion, because I don't know. It's been over 10 years at least since I've seen the 1. And at least since I've had kids, and that's been 8 years now, just about. So I'm excited for that. And I want you to think about, what are the things that make you interesting? It's not your weight. It's not your weight loss journey. You are not your weight. You are not your weight loss journey, right? You have to have an identity outside of the fat girl. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to become? And it's hard sometimes, I get it. It's hard sometimes to think that it's not important or it doesn't matter, because we want to see the scale go down. We want to see the progress, right? I think that is more what we're all looking for. We're looking for the progress. So I have told you so many different times, if you're a long listener to this podcast, that the number on the scale is one piece of data in your toolkit that is telling, and it doesn't always tell the full picture, right? It's one piece of data. There's so many other things on this journey that are giving us signs and giving us real data of how we're doing, right? And it's just so important to focus on those other things as well, because that's where we find change. We're not going to change because the scale changes. We're going to change because we decide we no longer want to play small. We decide we want to show up in the world. We decide we want to show up for ourselves. We decide that we deserve to create the life we crave. We decide that we're going to do whatever we have to do to become that version of ourselves. It's all about those decisions, and weight should be at the very bottom. The very bottom. Like, it's incredibly hard. We live in that society where everybody talks about weight. Every single person talks about weight, and it's all over the news, and it's all over our feeds, and it's just everywhere. And you have so much more to offer. You have so much more to offer. To your kids, they don't care. They don't care that you're overweight. They care that you're not getting off the couch. They don't care that you're overweight. They care that you're not getting in the pool and playing with them. They don't care about your size. They care about you taking them to theme parks and zoos and parks and doing fun things. They don't care what the scale says. They don't even understand that yet if they're little kids. They care that you show up and you're present and you play with them and you ask questions and you're mindful and you get outdoors and you run around and you play and you're active. That's the line you have to realize. It's like this very faint, fine line, right? Of we think it's because of our weight. Our kids don't give a shit about our weight. People in general really don't care because they're worried about their own stuff. And if you really boiled it down, you don't really care what the scale says. You care what you feel like. You care what you look like. You care how you package yourself up in the world. The weight just is what it is. So instead of thinking even when we've lost a significant amount of weight, right? Making that part of your identity, like I lost 100 pounds, I lost 50 pounds, and we make that so ingrained as part of our identity, that's really not what matters. What if you started to reframe that and it's like, because of how I lost the weight, because I lost 100 pounds, 70 pounds, whatever, I'm now able to fit in the seat. I'm now able to comfortably cross my legs on an airplane. And y'all better believe I'm going to take that picture. I'm going to take that picture this week and I'm going to post it. Yeah, if you know, you know. Like, I still to this day get giddy over the fact that I can easily have that extra, that, what do we call the seat belt? That extra, when you pull it, like that extra little belt that's hanging down, own it. Own it, girl. Like, own it. Because I will not take that for granted. I will not take it for granted being able to cross my legs in a seat. Right? I will not take it for granted not knocking people in their head with my big ass hips going down the airplane aisle. Okay? It's just, that's the stuff you should focus on. Not the number, but like, yeah, okay, I lost 70 pounds, right? I can say that right now. That's where I'm at. I've lost 70 pounds, but that's not what matters. What matters is I'm healthier. I can run around more. I can fit in the seat easier. I can just grab and go some of my clothes now. Like, those are the things that you want to focus on. And as you're working on yourself, to be like, and now I'm showing up for myself, I'm putting myself out there, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, because the weight can no longer be your shield. The weight can no longer hide you from the world. You need to stop hiding away from the world and putting yourself out there. And it doesn't happen when you get to your goal. It doesn't happen when you get to Wonderland. You start putting yourself out there in the ways that you can do now that are going to build your confidence. You're not going to just go balls to the wall, 0 to 100, right? When you're at the very beginning of your journey, you start doing little things to put yourself out there. And it becomes this gradual change that all of a sudden you're like, I just don't do that thing anymore. Or I do this now and I never used to do this before, right? It goes into so many different categories. So I want you to, as your homework, to think about what is interesting about you. What is awesome about you? What are you really good at? Focus on that. Focus on, okay, if you tell yourself, like, I want to lose 50 pounds, why? What do I want out of that? Because it's not just the 50 pounds. What do you want to be able to do 50 pounds from now that you can't do today? What does that look like? So that's what it's all about. And again, it just really, truly all is reframing and redirecting. That's what we do. So I am going to go ahead and end the episode here. Again, please catch up with me over on Instagram at Irresistible Icing. That is the best way to stay in touch. And please go ahead and leave a rating and review on your podcast player of choice. My podcast player that I recommend is Amazon Music. It is free if you are an Amazon Prime member. If you're not an Amazon Prime member, I have a free trial for 30 days down in the show notes. I will catch you guys in the next episode. Until then, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.